Tonight on the Local Live, two Democrats, John Hofstadter and Tom Murphy, announced they'll run for mayor in the village of Mamaroneck.
Mayor Norman Rosenblum considers a run for Westchester County legislator.
Once again, Larchmont candidates run unopposed. Election details coming up.
Police nab suspect in armed robbery of Trotus Pharmacy.
It's not too late to get tickets for the MHS Shakespeare Festival.
Come out and celebrate at Mamaroneck St. Patrick's Day Parade. This and more online stories in the media.
There's an unexpected ending for our second consecutive state champions. More of the ice battle in Buffalo coming up.
And in lieu of tonight's roundtable, we have our exclusive interview with La La Land producer Fred Berger.
Good evening, everyone. It's Thursday, March 16th, and I'm Mike Witsch.
And I'm Alexandria Garcia. Welcome to the Local Live. The race for Mamaroneck Village Mayor is getting an unusually early start for 2017. Tom Murphy and John Hofstadter, both Democrats and former trustees, announced via Facebook they are throwing their hats in the ring. Murphy, currently a Mamaroneck Town Council member, told the Local Live, quote, "I believe the village needs leadership that can form consensus on issues in a professional, calm manner. We also need to remember that zoning laws are written to protect residents, not empower developers." Hofstadter told us, quote, "As a former Village of Mamaroneck trustee, I have the background and familiarity to help the current board of trustees. My experience on the village budget committee has led me to believe that the village needs to find both efficient and fair ways of operating. Residents want to have confidence that their tax money is being used wisely and for their benefit."
In the next 2 weeks, Mayor Norman Rosenblum will be making a final decision whether to run for county legislator or run again for Village of Mamaroneck mayor. On a phone interview, he said he was approached multiple times by the Republican Party to run as a county legislator. His decision will be based on the Village of Mamaroneck's political landscape. "My decision," he says, "depends on how I can best serve the village." In Larchmont, for the 8th year in a row, all candidates are running unopposed. Election Day is Tuesday, March 21st. Polls are open from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. at the Village Center, 119 Larchmont Avenue, right behind the library. The candidates for 2 trustee seats are Malcolm Frauman, seeking his first full term, and Carol Kazaza Herman, a political newcomer. Thea Beaver is running for Village Justice, a spot she's held since 1997.
A 28-year-old man was arrested in Mamaroneck hours after an armed robbery of Trotus Pharmacy in Harrison. The suspect is Christopher Johnson, a Rhinebeck High graduate. Police allege he displayed a black handgun and made off with 1,600 prescription pills. Johnson is being held in the Westchester County Jail and is due back in Harrison Town Court on Tuesday, March 21st.
The 43rd consecutive Mamaroneck High School Shakespeare Festival kicked off this week with performances of Macbeth and The Tempest. Nearly 100 Mamaroneck High School students are participating in the production. You can get tickets at the Homix Middle School Auditorium or online at showtix4u, that's the letter U.com. $12 for adults and $8 for students. The shows continue through Sunday, March 19th.
Muhlenberg College senior and Larchmont native Eli Russ received the first ever Red Cross Disaster Health Services Award. He's being recognized for his work in the greater New York region of the American Red Cross, which he has been a volunteer of for 9 years. You can read more on the Mamaroneck Daily Voice. A Scarsdale church is helping out Syrian refugees. A congregation from the Hitchcock Presbyterian Church will be sending medical supplies to the people from the war-torn nation. This is organized by the Yonkers-based AFYA Foundation. So for more, check out loha.com. Environmental activists completed an 8-day, 90-mile peace walk last Saturday. Beginning on March 4th, the Water Walk for Life included prayers, drumming, and chants. The group of protesters walked from Carteret, New Jersey to Peekskill, New York. And this walk was done to protest the conservation of clean water and various pipelines being built all over the country. LoHUD has the story. March Madness is finally here and the Iona Gales are going dancing. The Gales clinched the tournament after defeating the Siena Saints in a thrilling MAC championship game. This is the second consecutive year that Iona clinched the tournament after winning the MAC championship. They are a number 14 seed and will go up against the number 3 seeded Oregon Ducks. You can get the full scoop at LoHUD.com. And get your green outfit ready as the Mamaroneck St. Patrick's Day Parade is coming up. The parade will be on Sunday, March 19th, and you might even see some of the crew here at the Local Live. So head over to LMC TV for full details. If you can find it online, you can find it in the media. I'm Rob Baez, signing off.
Coming up next, producer Kat Galeano sat down with La La Land producer Fred Berger when he visited his alma mater, Mamaroneck High School. But first, it's time for our local trivia.
The Mamaroneck Larchmont Continuing Education Center hosted their Notable Neighbors series with award-winning producer Fred Berger and film instructor Dr. Michael DeGennaro. LMC TV was the only press allowed at the event, and we're thrilled to present our exclusive interview with Fred, my former student, by the way, and a former LMC TV volunteer, now the producer of the acclaimed Hollywood musical La La Land.
Film director David O. Russell and the Dillon brothers are only a few of Mamaroneck High School's famous alums. But tonight, we'll get to sit with another famous alum and former LMC TV volunteer and staff member, Fred Berger, who you may know as the Golden Globe-winning producer of La La Land.
City of stars, are you shining just for me?
Fred, I'm
Hey,
so
Kat.
excited to have
No
you
worries.
here.
Thank you for having me.
I just kind of want to talk about what it's like being home, being here. What is going through your head? I mean, you're kind of a local celebrity now, so I just want to hear a little bit
That
from
is a
that.
very weird thing, and I deny that wholeheartedly. I come home a lot. I love seeing my family still lives here, and so I love being home. Actually, it makes me sort of relax. I'm in a very stressful job, so I love being back with my family here. Being up on that stage today was very surreal. It's I've been in this audience so many times. I had a lot of my friends from high school and family friends, and it felt bizarre. I didn't feel like I've earned it. I know some of the other people who've done this program, and I don't think I'm there yet. But it was, I did it because one is I love this community. I'm doing what I'm doing because I was lucky enough to grow up in a place where the arts were not seen as sort of small or as a hobby or as something you cut in the arts programs, but something to pursue and something to put a big premium on. So I wanted to sort of be able to recognize that and pay some kind of homage to it. And also Dr. DeGennaro, he's the guy for me. He's, there's 2 or 3 teachers along the way that inspire you, and he was mine. And you often don't get the opportunity to say thank you to those people. You think of them, and you don't have their emails, and you're busy. And to be able to have a conversation with him about movies, and to be able to sort of publicly recognize him was a thrill, and really the reason I came back.
And trust me, we all felt it.
Aw,
so
that's
now that
sweet.
you're home, what exactly do you have to have when you're here? Like, what can't you miss? Like, what do you have to eat? Where do you have to go? Like,
obviously Sal's Pizza is top of the list, and I heard that they deliver now, which is very exciting.
Uber Eats delivery.
We spent many a late night at Pat's Hubba Hubba in Port Chester. I don't know if you've ever been there.
Yes, I
Chili
have.
cheeseburger wedge. There's no delis in LA. You can't go to delis there. So a good Anthony sandwich for sure. A good egg and cheese. But just, I just like walking around the towns like Larchmont and Mamaroneck, and just it hasn't changed that much. And I just feel you think that when you hit your 30s, you're going to feel like decades away from being here, and it actually feels like yesterday that I was roaming through these halls late to class and, cutting them. And
I guess it also feels almost like grounding you. Like, it kind of grounds you, like you're just like in another place, and it's like, oh, nothing's really changed here, so that's nice.
Yeah, it is. It's nice to be home, actually, and to be, what's weird is, I've just lived a pretty crazy last 6 months. I mean, making that movie was amazing, and other movies, and I was just in the mountains shooting with Kate Winslet and Idris Elba. We were helicoptering to set, you know what I mean? It was just insane and amazing. And then dropping down every weekend to these crazy events or the Golden Globes, it's very, very surreal experiences that you kind of think about when you're in these classrooms and never imagine you'll be a part of. And now I'm shooting a movie in Westchester, and I'm going to be living at my dad's house. And
so exciting.
it's very grounding. It's good. making movies is about the process of making the film. That's the joy of it, not the awards and the cocktail parties. And so it's helpful to have things that ground you, and being home and being with the people who can cut you down and are not impressed by all of it is very necessary.
As a son of an immigrant, what message would you give to the immigrant community about coming to this country and just succeeding? Because I think that message that you said before is important to share.
Well, come, if only to prove Trump wrong in every way. We need diverse voices, and I'm working with a lot of female filmmakers and diverse filmmakers, and I think stories that come from a place of authenticity, whether it's a guy who loves musicals or an immigration story or any experience. I love international film because you get transported to those stories. So I think what makes this country unique and special is not only our diversity, but the way that we champion and accept. We can be American while never losing what made us, in my case, French and Egyptian and Jewish and all the rest of it. We don't have to sort of lose our previous identity in order to also be a fabric of this country. So in terms of telling stories, that is, you're always telling something from a perspective that is specific to you. There's a sort of cliche of write what you know. And I think that's true, but also write something cinematic. You know what I mean? How do you take something personal? Like District 9 is a great example. It's a guy from South Africa who wanted to tell a story about apartheid, but he did it through a really cool sci-fi movie. So if you're an immigrant, tell either a movie like Moonlight, or find a way that is your personal story, but make it into through genre or through romance or through comedy or whatever. We need every type of story.
So why did you decide to make movies? Like, why is film your passion? Why did that call to you?
There's a lot of seminal moments that I think are sort of combined to create this burning desire at some point. And one of them, I just always loved movies, but that was more as a fan. Then I took photography here, and that made me sort of see through what was just an image and understand it in a deeper way and make me appreciate it. And I still love cinematography. And then I did editing and video with Mr. Witch, and that was like, I want to be doing this. And
he actually hosts our show.
No way.
Yeah.
Can you say hello to him? Because he was a huge influence too.
Yes.
And so that gave me the bug to I was like, I just need to be a part of this in any way possible. So I started, taping bar mitzvahs and started working for LMC TV. And I remember distinctly, directing the Halloween episode, and I felt like I helped arrange the set and the choreography and the whole thing, and I was directing, camera 1 to camera 3 and wide and pushing in. And I was trying to, make it ambitious and artistic as much as I could. And the more you know this, and this is why you guys are doing what you're doing, is the more you get a taste of the thing that feels unattainable, and making art feels impossible, because you know how to go to law school, you know how to go to business school, you know how to be a doctor, and those are all challenging and gratifying in different ways, but there's a path. Making movies feels completely amorphous and untenable. So I just kept getting my hands on things that made me feel part of it. And then Dr. DeGennaro sort of made me understand that movies operated on a different level than what I was experiencing. And the more I got into that idea, and at the same time that Aronofsky was starting to make movies, and Spike Jonze, and all these directors that kind of embody that idea of movies as more than just something as superficial entertainment. And so that collision of the 90s, which was an amazing decade for movies, and people who taught you to sort of look at them more actively, I just was like, I need to do it. When you're editing something and you don't even realize you just pulled 2 all-nighters because you want to make it perfect.
I'll be familiar with that.
They say if you find something you love, you never work a day in your life. And that's, I don't stop working, and luckily I love what I do because I never sort of want to turn it off, so I'm very lucky.
Oh my God, I'm like floored by you right now. But I want to talk about LMC, because I can't even begin to tell you what it felt like to read the Journal News and scream my head off as I'm coming home from class and being like, oh my God, what? So please tell us what your best memory was, how you got involved with LMC. That is huge for us, huge for our volunteers and our interns and everyone really. It's that you even shouted us out and we didn't even know. So please tell us what your best memory is.
That's very sweet. Like I was saying, is a big part of why I'm doing what I'm doing, because you start to get just more and more of the bug because you start doing it, even in a more limited way, in a more local way. And I had this sense that maybe a lot of people weren't necessarily watching what I was doing, but that's the best time to sort of practice, and sort of figure out what you're good at. And because when you're young, everything feels not only impossible, but you don't even know where your place is in the whole thing. You don't even understand what the various jobs mean other than actor and director. And so it just gave me a chance to kind of hone my skills and realize that putting images together in a certain sequence and combining that with actors and people was exhilarating. And I think that Halloween special I remember so vividly because it felt like directing. I felt like I had some influence. And then there was some parade that I hosted that was near Emlyn Theater that I was both the host and then edited together. And there's a pride, you know what it's like when you're part of something that you do show to people and you're proud of how it comes out. And sometimes you want it to be better, but sometimes you're like, you want to show your family and your friends, and when people see it and they're in any way affected by it, it's like a little sugar high that you just want more of, you know? And LMC TV was awesome. It paid for my, lunch money, and it was also taught me that I liked, that this is something I shouldn't give up. It's not just a little hobby, but something I should pursue.
So how important is a place like LMC? I think sometimes people forget that public access is just like, oh, they cover town hall meetings and whatever. But it's like people are actually recording those. So like how important is it for people to realize that like you can come and hone your skills, whether you want to do TV or journalism or movies, like this is a place where you can start.
Absolutely. I think, first of all, it's incredibly important. It provides a service. Those town hall meetings, are still official public record. This is necessary stuff. The town, we're only as good as our communities. We are all interested in national politics, but it starts at the local level. And I think just on a basic public service level, it's a really important component of news and transparency and all the rest of it. But as a sort of gateway drug to making art, I think it's not LA. You're not going to work on a movie set most likely here. You're not going to be able to create a big feature film here. It's not Tish, like New York, there's a lot more access. So LMC is one of the few outlets for that level of creativity, and so thank God it was there, because it was definitely one of the attributes that led me to doing what I do. So I'm very grateful for it. And even MHS Info, which this high school has, is so, whether it's about journalism or making movies, it tells people, oh, you know what, you can kind of do it. It feels like doing it for real, and so like, maybe it's not that impossible. Maybe I should give this a shot.
And this is huge for our volunteers. Like they're gonna eat this up. So thank you.
Thank you.
So I want to talk a little bit about the film. Like, what does La La Land mean to you? Like, it is a huge hit, but what does it mean to you? It has so many connotations to it. So I just kind of wanted to pick your brain a little bit.
Yeah, we could talk for hours about it. It's really moving. I mean, I can't even explain what it's like that it's touched so many people and affected so many people around the world. I mean, it's internationally kind of
like
really...
absolutely tearing up, because I was like, that movie made me cry a lot, and that ending again.
I love that. Thank you. And it sort of affected the culture in a way we never expected. So all that's amazing, but if we had made it and wrapped it up, put it in a box and hidden it forever, it still would have been the most sort of joyous and special experience in my life. Damien became an incredibly close friend and almost little brother to me, and the process of getting it over the hill was daunting, but then when we were making it, it was what you dream about when you're a kid, is not only making a movie and expressing yourself, but doing it with a group of people you love and expressing something personal. And that movie is entirely our story, and I think that's why some people have an emotional reaction to it, whether it's based on a romance, like a relationship you had, or a desire to sort of say something in the world. And that's what Emma's character really is like. She's just so desperate to kind of articulate something artistic in the world and feels totally rebuffed and humiliated, and Ryan inspires her to be authentic to her voice, and she expresses this doubt of, I'm not good enough, I should go back to school, I don't belong here. And everyone who aspires to make art has that feeling at a step along the way, including for us while we were making, trying to get the movie made and failing. And so the fact that something that is so tiny and personal and contains so much of us in it is reaching people is still, we're having trouble processing that. It's a really surreal and just, it'll never be like this again. Like, I'll make a lot of good movies, hopefully, that will do well or do badly, but it'll never be like this one, because it's sort of, we grew up making this movie.
And I think also you can kind of just feel it. I think that's what makes it so special. It's like, there's a group of people behind it that just loved it, because it just feels special.
Oh,
so
I
loved it.
From the craft service to the director, everyone was pretty.
You can feel it.
Pretty happy making that movie.
So I just have another question. Many students and volunteers have the same dream as you did, to create something that the public can enjoy and love. What advice would you give to them at this point in your life? And also, what kind of advice do you wish you had gotten before you kind of started?
I think that's probably the same thing. And there's a cliche of if you want to do something, just believe you can do it and all that. And I don't know if it's exactly that, but I do think, luckily I have a lot of tenacity and a lot of sort of naive confidence. And I always felt like if I want to do something, I'm just not going to stop until I do it. And the more people told me it was hard, or you shouldn't do that, or you should find a safer way in, the more I felt kind of rebellious in wanting to prove them all wrong. And I had no idea how I would get there, but I had this innate sort of conviction that I would and that I needed to. And so what I'd say is it's not hard, but it's not as impossible as I think I felt it was in a sense. And there are paths to doing this, and there are ways in. And the hardest step in a way is getting your foot in the door. And after that, you just have to work really hard and want it more than anyone else. Be ambitious. You also know your advantages. You're young, you have time. I have a house now and a wife, and soon I'll have kids maybe, and that diminishes my ability to watch a lot of movies and read a lot and develop my taste and passion. When you're a kid, you could be reading books and comic books and devouring movies. You have no excuse not to be doing that. That feeds, if that's what you want to, if you want to be an artist, go to museums, but feed your passion in a very big way. Like, you have no excuse not to, because if you don't make it, that's totally on you. Damien watched movie. He did not play sports and he didn't read comic books. He just watched old movies incessantly. And so it was inevitable that he would make it. Do you know what I mean? Because he just was so versed in it and so deeply passionate and ambitious, and not wanting to just, don't make the success making a movie or writing a script or don't set the bar low, set it impossibly high, because then if you miss, you still miss like up here, you know? And so believe that you have a right to be at the table, because when you get there, you realize everyone's human. Everyone's like, the fact that you're interviewing me is sort of a joke to me, because I was like not that far away from where you are, and it's just a lot of hard work, a little bit of luck, and a little bit of taste, and it's not, you can have a pretty crazy ride.
It was a pleasure to be able to interview Fred here at his old high school. From all of us at LMC TV, I just want to say a huge thank you to Fred. We are all in La La Land. For the Local Live, I'm Kat Galeano.
Mike, it was so cool that Fred Berger actually mentioned you in the interview.
I know. He was a pleasure to have in class. And, it was great that he took what he learned and he applied it with LMC TV, directed some shows. And by the way, the host of that Halloween show was Rob Spear, who now works at Google. And that was my friend and LMC TV longtime volunteer, Carol West, who was dressed as a witch in the background playing the piano. And Kat Galeano, isn't she just as gorgeous now as then?
Welcome back to the Local Live. I'm Ian Sachs. This week, the Mamaroneck ice hockey team made the trip back to Buffalo in a bid to defend their Division I state championship. Let's take it to the Harbor Center. It's the Tigers facing off in the state semifinal against Section 6 champion Williamsville North. Off the Mamaroneck turnover, Trevor Cavalier tries to sneak one past Tommy Spiro, but he gets turned aside from the early threat. Back the other way, Jack Denty and Matt DiCicco trying to get something going, but the vaunted Willie North defense doesn't let anything through. Later, it's DiCicco again trying to fit a wrister through the middle, but it's handed easily by the gloves of Spartans netminder Jake Zurat. Still in the first period, Anthony Trigilio tries one from the top of the circle. Brett Sardina pokes at the rebound, but Spiro's all over it again. A minute later, a shot off the boards comes to the right. Joe Oliver throws it towards the middle, and Cavalier is right there to poke it in. 1-0 Spartans. Upon another look, the puck comes in so fast that Spiro barely even has time to see it and react to it, resulting in the goal. Ahead to the second period, Spartans on the power play. A shot through traffic goes all the way to Spiro, but he gets with the right pad and keeps the deficit at 1. Later in the second, Adam Batts breaks through the Tigers' D, but Spiro stonewalls him. The score stays 1-0 heading to the third. Early in the period, the Tigers on the power play. Michael Carducci sends one on goal. James Torrey and Harrison Schreiber both jab at the rebound, but Zurat handles it perfectly. Still early in the period, the Spartans trying to put the game away. Andrew Bruno has a mini breakaway, but Nick Campbell slows him down and Spiro does the rest. We move ahead to the final minutes now. Team skating 4 to a side. Carducci and Torrey come to a 2-on-1, and Torrey's shot clips off of Zurat's gloves, hits the crossbar, and Karam's out of play. That would be the last good chance for the Tigers, who dropped the state semifinal 1-0. Williamsville North would go on to win the state championship the following day, 3-2 over Pittsburgh. But for the Tigers, a lot to be proud of. They would finish with a record of 22-2-1, another Section 1 title, and of course, goalie Tommy Spiro, now the New York State record holder with 20 career shutouts, was named the State Division I Player of the Year. That's it for this week in sports. Spring is coming soon, so we'll see you then. I'm Ian Sachs. Stay tuned for more community stories.
I'm a producer,
News anchor,
director,
Host,
producer,
a reporter,
audio operator,
executive producer,
camera operator,
writer,
editor,
anchor,
writer,
producer,
reporter,
A sports producer.
reporter,
a sports producer,
programmer,
producer,
a reporter,
studio production manager,
executive producer,
reporter, floor manager,
a makeup artist,
an associate producer,
sound engineer,
technical director,
news editor,
A writer.
co-producer, senior news producer.
We
We
are Local Live.
Did you know that if you missed the last government meeting, you can watch it on our website? Just go to lmctv.org, click on videos, then click on municipal meetings, scroll down to find the meeting you want, or use the search function in the upper right corner and type in the name or date of the meeting. Then watch. You can see the full agenda and jump to a specific agenda item. It's all a click away at lmctv.org.
Edward is a 6-year-old male diabetic cat. He is in desperate need of a temporary foster home that can give him love and insulin shots. Edward is very sweet and craves attention and affection. Please help foster him today. And here is Cub, a 2-year-old Chow Chow mix. He is the perfect gentleman with people and dogs. He loves car rides and is great on a leash. Take this lovable, energetic pup home with you today. If you are interested in fostering Edward the cat or adopting Cub the dog, visit ny-petrescue.org.
Remember, to help keep us on the air, make an online donation. Go to the lmctv.org site, click on the donate button in the upper right corner. We really appreciate the help.
We are always welcoming new volunteers and interns, and we love to hear from you. Send your email to locallive@lmctv.org and join our crew. Thank you so much for watching our show. That's all for tonight. I'm Alexandria Garcia.
And I'm Mike Witch. See you next week for another episode of The Local Live.